Hello everyone. So for almost 2 seasons, fans of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage have been quietly thinking the same thing. Mandy's career ambitions are constantly putting her marriage second, and finally the show itself has acknowledged it. The latest episode, A Little Schmoozin and Nose for the News, brings that issue directly into the spotlight. And honestly, it was overdue, even though the series hasn't reached the massive popularity levels of The Big Bang Theory or Young Sheldon. It has quietly become one of CBS's strongest comedy performers during the 2025-26 television season. What makes that impressive is that the franchise no longer depends on Sheldon Cooper or science heavy humor. Instead, the series has shifted towards grounded family storytelling centered around Georgie and Mandy, trying to build a life together while raising their daughter Cece. And to the show's credit, season 2 has done a much better job integrating the larger Cooper family into the story. Mary, Missy, Mima, Dale, and even Pastor Jeff have all had meaningful appearances this year. But despite all those supporting characters, the emotional core of the show still revolves around Georgie and Mandy's relationship. And that's exactly why this recurring problem has started standing out more and more. The newest episode revolves around Mandy trying to establish herself professionally while dealing with competition at work. Things get tense after she refuses to do a feature story about Georgie becoming the youngest member of an association connected to his business. Georgie, feeling dismissed, secretly takes the story to a rival network instead, which obviously creates conflict between them. Now, yes, going behind Mandy's back wasn't exactly the right move, but Georgie makes a point that's hard to ignore. He basically calls out the fact that if the situation were reversed, Mandy probably wouldn't hesitate to put her career first. And honestly, viewers have seen this pattern before. Just a few episodes earlier, Mandy risked damaging their standing at a country club because she wanted to impress her new boss with a story. The moral argument in that episode may have been valid, but the real motivation still came back to career advancement. That's become a recurring trait for Mandy throughout the show. To be fair, Mandy has always been portrayed as career driven. That part of her personality didn't suddenly appear in this series. But now that she is married, raising a child, and supposedly building a stable future with Georgie, fans are starting to expect more balance and emotional growth from her character. The problem isn't that Mandy wants a successful career. In fact, that's one of the more realistic aspects of the series. Television honestly needs more portrayals of ambitious working mothers who are trying to balance family life and personal goals. Mandy could absolutely become a strong representation of that. The issue is how the show frames her compared to Georgie. Right now, Georgie is constantly presented as the dependable family man, the guy who sacrifices for everyone, supports his loved ones, and keep things together. That characterization makes sense, especially considering how young Sheldon developed his personality during its later seasons. But because Georgie is painted so positively all the time, Mandy often ends up looking like the selfish one in comparison, and that imbalance is becoming harder to ignore. The series doesn't necessarily need to change Mandy completely or suddenly make her abandon her professional dreams. That would actually hurt the character more than help her. What the show really needs is to make her feel more multidimensional. Let viewers see moments where family genuinely comes first for her emotionally, not just out of obligation. Give her scenes where she struggles internally with a balancing ambition and motherhood instead of always defaulting to career focused decision. Interestingly, the show has already proven it can do this kind of character development well. Audrey's character become much more layered over time, evolving beyond the stereotypical difficult mother figure she initially seemed to be. So there's no reason the writers can't do the same thing for Mandy moving into season 3. And the good news is that CBS has already renewed Georgie and Mandy's first marriage for another season, which gives the writer plenty of time to course correct. Because if the current dynamic continues unchanged, there's a risk that audience will slowly start viewing Mandy less as complicated protagonist and more as the obstacle in Georgie's life. For a show built entirely around their marriage, that's probably the last thing it wants. Thank you for watching. Bye.